Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada. Om Ganganapate Namaha Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha Shri Hanumate Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 20th of January 2025. I want to welcome you all to morning satsang, and I want to offer my prostrations to all the great sages and to Bhagavan residing in the heart of every being. With that bhavana and prarthana, we're continuing to examine Advaita Vedanta in many different ways. And today I want to examine it in terms of the Shakti tradition, the Shakta tradition, little different angle, and see where that takes us. And then we'll get back into the Mandukya Upanishad. It's all the same thing. It's just different perspectives of seeing the same reality. So as we know in Advaita Vedanta, Maya is understood as a veil or a force that obstructs the ultimate reality that must be removed to realize Brahman, the unchanging, formless absolute. This is the basic notion of Advaita Vedanta. Maya is considered as a veil, as some kind of an obstruction, as an obstacle. Now, in the Shakti tradition, the Shakta, S-A-S-H-A-K-T-A, or Shakta tradition, it reinterprets Maha-Maya as both the obscurer and the revealer of divine truth. So this is an interesting way to see what is Maha-Maya. That the divine truth, Divya Satyam, is obscured by Maha-Maya because it is going to be perceived in a different way within the realm of Maha-Maya. That is why it is obscured, to give the experience of Maha-Maya. But at the same time, simultaneously, Maha-Maya is also the revealer of divine truth. It sounds contradictory, but it is not. The revealer of divine truth is also Maha-Maya. So this dual role transforms the concept of Maya into a dynamic force, a power of both concealment and revelation. Amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So it's a dynamic force that conceals the actual truth that is Brahman. And it is also a dynamic force that reveals the Brahman, which means that the world, this jagat, this bhautik jagat that we see, the material world, is seen as a sacred expression of Shakti, cosmic energy. I hope these points are making some sense. I know they're a little difficult. Let's look at it this way. The experiences of life that we have, are they an illusion? The Shakta tradition would say, no, they're not an illusion. They are real. They're definitely real. They are forms of energy, energy expression, the dynamics of energy. Nonetheless, the names and forms and experiences that we individually are going through are they are obscuring the divine truth. That's amazing. They are obscuring the divine truth, but they are also there to reveal the same truth. It goes both ways. Now, how can that be? How can Maha-Maya obscure Divya Satyam, divine truth, and reveal divine truth, Divya Satya? How is this possible? Well, there are many, many ways to try to understand this. So, first of all, the entire creation, the entire Srishti, from the Shakta Sampradaya, Shakta tradition, Shakta meaning the worshippers of Shakti, Devi Upasana. They consider that the entire manifestation is a great unending Leela. Leela means divine play. Divya play, divine play. It is a play that we cannot possibly understand. That is why there is not the rejection of the world, but an integrative embrace of its divinity. Please try to understand these points very carefully and slowly. The rejection of the world has happened in Sanatana Dharma with the Advaita tradition, other traditions also. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya Jagat Hey Ne, this and that. That is also a certain realization, no doubt. But in terms of the Maha-Maya and the Shakta tradition, what is called the Shakta path, the worshippers of Maha-Maya, Devi, these traditions, the Shakta tradition, does not consider the world as an illusion. And it doesn't reject anything from the world. For example, take that gulab jam example, sweet. You're holding a gulab jam. Is it an illusion? Shankaracharya ji would say, yes, it's an illusion. It's not really there. His guru's guru would say, like Ajatavad, Gaudapadacharya, they would say it's not even there. Only Brahman is there. But the Shakti tradition would say, no, it is actually there. And that is the grace and Leela of Maha-Maya that is giving us the experiences of the senses. And because she's giving us those experiences, they are not to be rejected. They are to be appreciated and cherished in a highly integrative embrace. It's the integrative embrace of its divinity. What does that mean? You know, to embrace means to hold, like to hug, right? But to hold and to integrate completely from inside. That is called an integrative embrace of the divinity. That even a gulab jam, if you say, oh, this is a play of the great goddess, of the Mahashakti, and then to cherish the experience, not to be bound in the experience, but to cherish it as for what it is, as a Leela. In the cherishing of it as a Leela, as a play, as a divine Shakti, is unbounded action in the actual experience of having interaction with the object, as the Gita would say, Ragadvesha Vyuktasti Vishayan Indriyascharan Atma Vaishayra Vidaya Atma Prasadam Adhigachiti. Sachin here is trying to connect these 2 points together. It's amazing. Otherwise, we will easily get bound to the object. And most human beings are bound to the objects. The question is, can there be this integrative embrace of the objects in the divinity of the objects? That is, this kind of Gyan is only present in the Shakti tradition. इस प्रकार का ज्ञान केवल शक्ति उपासना में है, not in any of these other traditions, not in Advaita Vedanta, not in Vishishta Advaita, not in any of the acharyas, except the Shakti tradition. That is separate, एक अलग प्रकार का tradition है ये. And it's not just a tradition, it has to do with real life experiences. You know, for example, the experience of pain, like the experience of pain in the body, experience of pleasure in the body. Is it an illusion? Is it something that is just hypothetical? No. It's real. It's definitely real. It's not some illusion. Right? So it is a path of the embracement, the embracing of all experiences. बहुत अलग प्रकार का path है ये. And that is why it is something that people have gotten lost in, because they have mistaken the Leela for, how can we say it? Take, for example, something like cigarettes or alcohol. Somebody smokes cigarette. Isn't that also a Leela of Shakti? Of course it is. Of course it is. There's no question about that. There's not a single experience, or let's put it this way, any experience, any and all experiences are Leela of Shakti. That is what is called experience. But to see it as a Leela and not be bound in that is the Upasana of Shakti. Rather than getting lost in the concealment function of Shakti. I know we may not have talked about these things probably before, but I want to just get it out there. It's so fascinating. Most people are trapped within the concealment force. She's concealing the actual truth. But by concealing the actual truth, we have another kind of experience. Meaning what? The actual truth is energy flow. The actual truth is non-dual one consciousness. That is the same thing that Advaita is saying. That is the same thing Kashmiri Shaivism is saying. That is the same thing all systems are ultimately saying. That there's only one, ek hi hai, ultimately. But the approach is considerably different here. The approach is where that the concealment, meaning to conceal means to hide the actual truth, gives a new experience. For example, a husband and wife have a child and say, oh, this is my child. And then all of the ahankar that goes behind, not negatively, it's just, aham mamatva. That is concealment of the actual truth. What is the actual truth? That this is just an energy flow from a Shakti point of view. Ek hi Shakti ka swarup hai ye sab. There's no me or mine or anything like that. But there is me and mine in the concealment power of Maya. That also has its existence. Ahankar, what is called ahankar, it also exists. Of course, Gita and Brahma Sutras and all, they are saying go beyond that. But you cannot go beyond it unless it exists. If somebody says, I need to go beyond my ego, I need to let go of my ego, I need to let go of these negative things, you cannot let go of anything negative, anything harmful, anything binding, anything limiting unless it is there. It has to be there for it to let go. I want to let go of my anger. Well, that means anger has to be there. Otherwise, how you will let it go? There's a purpose even for anger. Believe it or not, even Gunatitanand Swami said something like this. Amazing. He said these faults, these kam, krodh, lobh, etc., they serve a purpose. He said, satsangni garaj re. Because they are there, you will do satsanga. You will take a path towards higher consciousness. If they're not there at all, there's no experience of any kind. And without any experience of any kind, how can one progress ahead? How is that even possible? See this point very, very carefully. बहुत इस पर मनन करना चाहिए. सचिन की तो बहुत प्रार्थना है आप सबको, whoever is listening to this or in the future, भगवान की इच्छा, इस पर बहुत मनन करना चाहिए. हमारे में जो काम, क्रोध, लोभ, मोह, अहम, ममत्व, इसका भी महिमा है. इसका भी बहुत importance है. Because if it is not there, you cannot realize the Brahman. It has to be there to go beyond it. How can you go beyond? How can Sachin or you or anybody else go beyond the limitations that Prakriti is giving us? We cannot go beyond them unless they are there. And this is the glory of Shakti Tattvagnan, the Shakta Tattvagnan. Amazing. बहुत amazing बात है ये. Just imagine for a moment if a child is born in this world, like Shukdev Goswami. Shukdev Goswami was born completely with the Atman, Atmagnan. It's a long story. I won't go into that right now. Koi kaam, krodh, lobh, moh, matsar, kuch tha nahi. Just a body was taken. that kind of a being is a form of Bhagavan who comes here for the liberation, complete liberation. He's the expounder of Srimad Bhagavatam. But he is very aware of Prakriti. He's gone beyond the clutches of Prakriti. Prakriti, he's not really part of Prakriti in that sense. And even if he comes into Prakriti, as Vachanamrut में लिखा है, ऐसे जो बड़े बड़े मुक्त है, महात्मा है, महान आत्मा, they are liberated beings. They transform the Jivatma out of the concealment power that is also by grace of Prakriti, because she allows them to come here. Otherwise, nobody can come under the, nobody can take birth inside the Brahmand. Brahmand में आप आ ही नहीं सकते. If you are a liberated being outside the Brahmand, the only way to come back into the Brahmand is because you have a desire to help others, or God sends you, Bhagwan sends you. But even that Maha-Maya has to allow. If she doesn't allow anybody to come here, you'll not be able to get inside the Brahmand. Brahmand में आ ही नहीं सकते. तो ये जो मुक्त आते हैं ब्रह्मांड में, वो भगवान की दया से आते, कृपा, इच्छा, आज्ञा से आते, आज्ञा. That's another very super metaphysical subject. My only point today, humbly, is that this is really quite something. Two powers are there, concealment and revelation. How amazing is that? How amazing is that? Can you imagine? Just picture this scenario. I'll close with this point. You're at a party, maybe some big New Year's party or something. Everybody's drinking. People are like real dancing and drinking. Can you see only Shiv and Shakti in that? वो भी लीला है, वो भी शक्ति की ही लीला है. But one has to be careful. One can be bound inside the experience. The experience is there, but that experience is real. But that experience is the concealment power of Maha-Maya that is giving that type of experience. Have you ever gone to a New Year's party and see all the people dancing? It's a sab Shankar Bhagwan ki leela. Have anybody ever thought that? Try it sometime. Take a mala with you, sit in the corner somewhere. Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya. Sab Shiv leela hai. Try it sometime. हमारी बुद्धि नहीं चलेगी उसमें. We cannot imagine, because we're not at that realization to see that as a leela. Now you have to be careful with this, because what will happen in this is that you can wind up seeing all Vishaya Vasana as leela. And in one sense, that is also a type of connection between Shiv and Shakti. This is written by Bhagavan Swaminarayan in the Vedas. I'll show you the actual quotation. Shiv and Shakti na connection માથી રજોગુણ ઉભો થાય છે અને એમાંથી પાતાળ લોકને વિશે વીર્યની નદીઓ વહે છે. સ્વામિનારાયણ ભગવાન said this exact statement. It's mind-boggling thing actually. क्या amazing भगवान ने बनाया है सब. On that basis, please don't misunderstand. I'm not telling anybody to drink anything or smoke cigarettes or anything like that. It has to do with a bird's eye view, a broader view of all of existence. It is a very, very difficult thing to even grasp, but it's also much more rare to see the divine play. It is called the Chit Shakti Vilas. बहुत difficult बात है. It can be quickly misunderstood, and then one can be lost even further inside the power of Maha-Maya, which is what has happened in the Shakti tradition. A lot it has happened. There's a lot of history behind that. That is why most of the acharyas have shown a more, it's a different kind of path that they have shown to go out of the binding of Shakti and not to be lost inside the illusory, or not to be lost inside the concealment power, because to recognize the concealment power as concealment is to be liberated from that concealment. Anyway, these are big things. Let's talk about it some other time. Om Dhyanamulam Gurur Murti Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam Pujamulam Gurur Padam Mokshamulam Gurur Krupa Tameva Mata Chapita Tameva Tameva Bandhu Saka Tameva Vidya Dravinam Tameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundaye Viche Om Sarvamangala Mangale Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanye Trambike Gauri Narayani Namostute Om Durge Durge Rakshini ठः ठः स्वाहा ओम श्री दुर्गार्पणमस्तु ओम श्री राधा कृष्णार्पणमस्तु.